One way justice has been denied for me is through the biased decision made by the Nukunonu Taupulenga to ban me from going to the USP campus here in Nukunonu. The decision was based from the incident I had with a tutor, who is also the acting coordinator for Nukunonu campus. It happened on the 9th of September this year, on a Wednesday around 10:45 a.m. at the campus. The tutor confronted me at a step where I was sitting and said, "Oh my gosh, you're just blinded by his love," after having a quarrel with my fiancé, who is also a student at USP. She said in a very rude and disrespectful tone and turned her back and walked away. I replied back to her saying she has no right at all to say that to me, that she know I have my rights as a student. The matter was taken up to the principal, since USP is under the school principal for primary and secondary school. I explained to the principal about the incident and also told her to speak to the teachers about their attitudes towards students and language used also. There shouldn't be any personal words said out by them. I also told her that the tutor has always been like this, bossy and rude to students and teachers, but no one had the courage to confront her. The principal replied that she will talk with the teacher and will get back. On Friday the same week, my parents and I, together with the principal and the deputy principal and the tutor, had a meeting. The meeting didn't end well. The principal canceled the meeting and said that it would be taken up to another level, education committee, then to the Nukunonu Taupulenga. For she said she did not like the way I talked to her. I was fighting for my right as a student to have a happy learning society, since she was taking one side, the tutor's side. I also tried to correct some of the information set out by her, but she did not take it in. From the education committee to Nukunonu Taupulenga, my parents and I were invited to a meeting with Nukunonu Taupulenga's committee through a letter. The letter stated that the purpose of the meeting was to discuss the matter and seek a way forward that would provide a safer environment for the students of Matiti. The meeting took place on the 30th of September at 11 a.m. The meeting turned out unfavorably again. We were not given the chance to explain our side of the story. One of the committee's folks said that a student must respect the teacher at all the time. The same person also said they have forgiven us and they will not deport my family back to Tonga. And also about the engagement for myself and my fiancé. Such practice is prohibited on the island, for it is a negative influence on the younger generations. All we said to them is to deport my family back to Tonga. We do not want to live in such a community where our justice is being denied. We also want to live and breathe in freedom. So we apologized and came out of the meeting. Lastly, I also seek for further assistance to Dr. Khan, and am so grateful for her assistance. She reported the matter to Dr. Bauma, who is the Deputy Vice Chancellor for the regional campuses, estates, and infrastructure. He replied that he will consult the appropriate staff and will get back to Dr. Khan. However, until now, there hasn't been any update. I'm still banned from the USP campus and only get to access the internet once or twice a day due to the high cost of data on the island. I would frequently go to my mom's office to use her data.
My name is Fitiloi Panulu. I'm the director for the Family Protection Legal Aid Center. And the Family Protection Legal Aid Center is housed under the Ministry of Justice as the ministry's project. The center was established in 2018. The goal was to increase access to justice for survivors of domestic violence and gender-based violence throughout Tonga. And the realized that a lot of people weren't using their law or coming to court to get assistance under their law because of a lot of constraints or a lot of challenges in terms of going to court. One of them was the financial constraints. And of course, specifically to what I've been asked to share about is the barriers to access justice in the context of clients at the center. One of those, as I mentioned, the financial issue. The other is the stigma. Most people, they may come to the center, as far as coming to the center to seek legal advice, and then they say, okay, can we wait, just give me another chance before we go to court. Going to court sometimes is a chance for some families to recognize that, each party's shortfalls and then they attempt to reconcile. But in some cases, once going to court, if the perpetrator is the husband, that's the end of the marriage. It's so that is a barrier, and it discourages a lot of clients, women specifically, to go to court because of that. I suppose another barrier is the geographical location of the center, where we're not able to properly provide services to Delta Islands. So it is a big barrier when, for them to understand how the process happens or how the process, what the process is. You need to be able to interact with them in person. I think one of the other big challenge for us at the moment is the lack of legal staff. In the first year of the center, we had about 367 clients who came through to seek legal assistance. And out of that 367, we have our own criteria to assess whether they are eligible. 268, we were able to assist, whether going to court or providing legal advice to them. And there was only one lawyer from 2018 up until very recently in the last 2 months. This office started off with support staff who have never worked in a legal office. So it was a big challenge and a barrier to ensure that we competently provide our services. Tonga is a small place. A lot of the clients are also discouraged to proceed to court. It's just by merely the feeling of insecurity, in the sense that if the others know about their problems, then other people will find out. I think it's only natural to feel that way. And a lot of them, it's because of also it's a cultural influence where they grew up in environments where they say be patient. But also, we struggle with other issues, like we are constantly working with the police. As I said, sometimes a small perpetrator may be related to a police officer. It's a big challenge, and we still face it.
Where can people go to seek legal advice? Is it affordable? And who would be in charge in giving those advice?
Yes, the government of Nauru comprises of several departments, including the Department of Justice and Border Control. Now, with Justice and Border Control Department, it's also comprising of several sections, which is including the Office of the Public Legal Defenders. And so that office is essentially established to basically provide the people with adequate legal assistance or essentially just timely access to justice. In terms of whether it's affordable, the office does not charge does not charge any fees for the services that it offers to the people. The office basically now comprises of legal practitioners admitted to practice in court as barristers and solicitors, as well as pleaders. They come with extensive legal experience. And so the general public, they have the opportunity to visit one of those offices to seek legal advice about their concerns.
Is customary law recognized in Nauru?
Yes, but it depends on how issues are brought up in court. But generally, the primary predominant issue relative to customary law is with respect to land issues. And at this point, we have the Nauru Lands Committee, which is a body established essentially to deliberate, I guess, on issues relating to land issues.
How does customary law hinder the process of accessing justice?
It doesn't really hinder the access to justice, basically because each case, it depends on a case-by-case basis and how counsels present their argument, as well as the evidence that they rely on to be able to convince the court on accepting their side of the argument. And so in that sense, the counsels in carriage ought to have conducted proper research, have compiled or prepared the cases very well to be able to make justified arguments before the judge. And so with the lack of research by counsel, it just may result in a person's genuine claim over land issues, which is a customary issue in Nauru, therefore affecting their, I guess, access to justice.
How do lawyers deal with such situations when presented to them?
Well, as highlighted, before a lawyer brings or a legal practitioner brings matters in the court, they have to have been prepared very well in terms of their research and preparing the case together, putting the case together. And so sometimes legal practitioners would assess the merit of the case, and they themselves would have to determine whether they're able to carry the matter, or if it's just beyond their jurisdiction, then they have other assistants. They could pass the matter over to another lawyer. And so they have to have made those decisions prior to the matter reaching the court.
Is there any acts or legal sections on customary law?
In Nauru, there are, the predominant issue that is relative to customary law is with respect to land issues. And these land issues are regulated now in a number of provisions or legislation. For example, the Lands Act. There's also the Custom and Adopted Laws Act that recognizes customary law before the acts came into force.
What is your general opinion on the written law versus the customary law?
Well, as a practicing lawyer, I think the written law is much easier in the sense that everything has been written down. So the guideline has already been provided for you. All you have to do is just read through and follow the procedure that's provided in those written laws. Customary law, on the other hand, as the term implies, these are customs based on customs in the community, and so they're rarely written down, and so it's very difficult to determine how to handle customary issues, simply because there's no guidelines on those. I guess my position on that is I would just hope for Nauru to focus an office or establish an office for the purpose of compiling customary issues in the one document, so it's easier and more convenient, which is going to be a very difficult task, but it would be very convenient to the legal practitioners in terms of assisting them argue their cases before judges in the courts of Nauru.